The Premier League's at around the halfway stage, and I wanted to give some reviews and some predictions for the rest of the season. So I wanted to start off with the top 6, and we'll start at first. Who do you boys think is going to win the Premier League this year?
Well, I think we were just discussing it. I still think it's going to be Man City, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
They've just got De Bruyne's just come back and played a few minutes today. Haaland's on the horizon, and this second stage of the season, they always just start going on mad win sprees. I do think inevitably they'll win it. I think Liverpool will be the team that'll take them down to the wire, but I do think City will probably win it.
What do you think, Simon, as a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, I mean, I still think we have a very good chance, but I just think, like you say, because De Bruyne is just coming back now, and then Haaland will probably come back in the next couple of weeks. If those two have been playing already all the season, I'd probably think, oh, maybe we can sneak it, but they've got them to come back, and then they always go on massive 15-game winning streaks, don't they? So.
Yeah. Well, I had Manchester City first in my predictions as well, but I do think there's the possibility. Obviously, those players are coming back from injury, but De Bruyne's quite injury prone. I could see him maybe be missing again for a couple of games of the season. Haaland has played like a machine up front whenever he's been there, but you never know, it might take him a little bit to bed in. I do think it's going to be a really interesting second half to the season, and I think what might actually be the biggest downfall for Liverpool is the next month or two when Salah's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I know last time AFCON led to Salah leaving the team for a little bit. Liverpool still did really well in that period, but I think this season you've really relied on him for a lot of it.
He'll be a big miss, definitely. I think if Egypt come out in the group stage or like in the last 16 or whatever it is, I think he's only going to miss 2 league games, I think. But if he goes beyond that, then I think he'll miss the Chelsea and Arsenal game.
Preying on Egypt's downfall.
Yeah. And same with Endo as well, playing with Japan. He's been brilliant for the last month for us. So I think, again, he could end up missing all the big games as well, which is a bit unfortunate. But
I feel like Endo's been a signing that's maybe gone under the radar a little bit. I think Liverpool fans are aware of how well he's done. But to say he cost what, practically nothing? Is he a loan
16 million or something like that?
Yeah,
so
he's had a real big impact in the team.
He has.
So all of us are predicting Manchester City to win the league this year.
Yeah.
What do we think of second then? Who's going to finish second?
Liverpool, I think,
Liverpool?
Yeah.
I've got Liverpool second, and I do think that Man City have still got a tendency to drop points in stages. Liverpool obviously do, but I do think if there's one team that's going to take it relatively close, it will be Liverpool. I mean, as we've seen in the past, you know what I mean? I think Arsenal aren't quite there yet. They're still definitely going to finish top 4, but I just think it'll be Liverpool second.
I think the thing with Liverpool, with us, we haven't had our wobble yet. Like City had theirs quite early on, didn't they? When was it Rodri when he was suspended and they lost 3 games, and then Arsenal kind of going through theirs, and we've not had ours yet. So January time is when we do tend to have our wobble under Klopp. So you never know, it could be around the corner.
With Salah going,
yeah, I agree. I also had Liverpool second. I feel like I wonder if we're all going to have exactly the same top 6 going into it. It wouldn't surprise me. But I just think with Liverpool at the minute, they've been levels above other teams at certain points, whereas I think we're yet to see. Obviously, City have had some impressive performances throughout the season, but it seems like Liverpool are the team that are really battering people.
I feel like you have scraped a few though, haven't you?
Well, it's like the Newcastle result the other day. That was our best performance of the season. That's why we absolutely battered Newcastle for 90 minutes basically. And we've not really done that. Maybe we did against Villa in September, I think, when we beat them 3-0. But that was our first real statement win, I think, this season.
I'd say so, because I've gone through a few, some 2-1s here and there.
Oh, yeah.
But like you say, with Salah, he's got joint most goals on 14, I think, with Haaland, and he's got the most assists as well. So it's going to be an interesting January. But as I say, some Liverpool fans might be keeping an eye on the AFCON, hoping
definitely.
Egypt don't do too well. But
and I mean, obviously, it's the January transfer window at the minute as well, which could have a huge impact if one of these teams decides to sign a massive player. But I don't think that's honestly going to happen. I think it'll be minimal spend from the big teams.
It's not really Liverpool style anyway, that.
No, I don't think we'll spend anything this
So, lads, Man City first, Liverpool second. Who have you got third, Ellis?
I've got Arsenal.
Arsenal third?
Yeah, Arsenal.
This is just going to be exactly the same, and we're all going to have exactly the same predictions.
I don't know, as it gets a little bit further down, I think it might get different, but I feel like the top 3 are pretty...
They're the 3 best teams in the league by a long way.
Common answer, really, wouldn't it? Like, Arsenal... Still great. It's still a great team. They've gone through a little wobble at the moment, but they've still got the class of player. And once they start hitting a bit of form again, then they're just going to be picking up points week in, week out. So I don't see anyone else being higher than them.
As to say, do you not think that have you got Arsenal third as well?
Yeah.
Do you not think that Arsenal's wobble at the minute could be a sign of things to come? Because it only takes that lasting a couple more games.
Well, I just think because it's a wobble, the wobbles only last for a little bit, don't they, so to speak? So I think they will come good. I think they will.
I think it's Arsenal's lack of a striker for me that worries me seriously, because obviously Jesus has been announced as injured again today. I know it's not meant to be a serious injury, but he's so injury prone. And to be honest, even when he's playing, I don't rate him as an out-and-out striker.
They had last season as well, they had Saka and Martinelli really carrying in terms of like they were getting a lot more goals, but I don't think Saka and Martinelli are firing quite the same at the moment.
But yeah, I completely agree with the Saka and Martinelli statement, because I think they were fantastic last year, and the issue is for me at the minute in that Arsenal squad, there's no one really to challenge them for their places in the team, like, at all. Yeah. I know, like, obviously Nicolas Pepe was pretty poor when he was at Arsenal as a whole, but he was still someone to challenge him for the spots. And I think at the minute, you've got Reece Nelson, who's not.
Well, you got Trossard as well, but he just seems to be a player that starts on the bench and gets brought on.
It seems like he's quite happy to be a bench player, and I think if I was Arsenal, I know that this would be a big ask. I think that there's a bunch of players that Arsenal should look at in January, to be honest. And obviously a striker's the main concern, but maybe going into the summer transfer window, if I were them, I'd really try target Elise.
No, he's a good player. I think
it'd bring
him. Is that the one from Palace, Crystal Palace? Yeah, I think Liverpool have been linked with him.
And it'd bring really good competition to the squad, which is what Arsenal are missing at the minute. You've got the players who were star players last year dropping down a level or two, and it's making a huge impact. Whereas if you had some more players like Elise in the team that could really challenge them.
And they've done it with keepers, like you brought in David Raya to a bit of competition for Ramsdale, both of them like swapping places, but you need that realistically outfield, not where you're fucking goalkeeper. Yeah, like the stuff competition.
The goalkeeper stuff is quite funny.
I think out of the three, out of Arsenal, City, Liverpool, I think Arsenal got the weaker squad.
Yeah, I always see Arsenal as having a lack of. Especially this season, you would say last season Saka was a star player, but this year it doesn't seem to be quite to the same level for me. And I think Rice is the only one that's like an out-and-out star player, or signing especially. We've had the same top three. Simon, who have you got fourth?
Oh, I've gone for Aston Villa for fourth.
I have as well. Actually,
yeah,
I have as well.
There you go.
You see, next time someone says zero ball knowledge, we've all gone for the same top four. So either all of us have zero ball knowledge, which is quite possible, especially if you ask the masses.
Yeah.
But why Aston Villa fourth, Ellis?
Well, it's just they've made the home a fortress. I mean, I know obviously they've had. Like, they're still picking up points away from home, but at home they've just been that good, and you play half your games at home. Mm-hmm. I think it could be a similar situation where there's other teams like, say, your Manchester Uniteds and your Chelseas that have dropped off, so that frees up a spot higher up the table like it did last year with Newcastle finishing fourth. So I really think Aston Villa could be that team this year. Just keep on going. I don't know if they're going to do any business in January, but so far so good from them. We've got Ollie Watkins has been fantastic for him. He could keep providing the goods. Just really firing under Emery, to be fair. So I hope they do it, really.
Oh, yeah, I think they're miles better at the moment than United and Newcastle. You could probably say the other two teams for that fourth, but I just think they've been brilliant this season, haven't they? Emery's just gotten them playing so well, and like you say, Villa Park's a massive fortress there, isn't it? So, but you never know. Will it? As you know, when Europe comes back in, that
could slip off, couldn't it?
Midweek games and things like that, would they kind of drop off a bit? You just never know, but.
Yeah, it's a possibility, and I think you've seen a lot of these teams struggle with the European competitions been around at the same time as try to do well in the Premier League. But I do agree. I've got Aston Villa there in fourth, and I think I'm actually really enjoying watching how well Villa are doing this year. I think out of all the teams that are battling for those top four spots, I hope they manage to keep it. It's kind of similar to Newcastle last year for me, other than the fact it's less Saudi money, which makes it a little bit better in my head. I mean, I'm sure that Aston Villa's money isn't clean either, but I quite like the fact that they're in that fourth spot. And I'd like to see them in the Champions League again, because they have won 2 European Cups, haven't they?
One
was it one?
Well, it's Forest that won 2.
Yeah. All right, but they've got that European history.
Massive club, Aston Villa, huge club in England.
Yeah, they've got a great fan base, so I'm
great
excited.
Stadium as well.
Yeah, I've been once many years ago. But lads, I think this might be where we start to differ a little bit. Who have we got fifth? Simon, you kick it off.
I went for Newcastle fifth.
Newcastle in fifth. Ellis?
I've gone Spurs.
Spurs. So I'm with Ellis on this one. I had Spurs in fifth, but I do think Newcastle is a shout. How do you think they're going to start to pull it back? I know we've got a debate on this later.
Don't have the Champions League anymore.
Well, that's it. Yeah, they don't have European, distraction anymore, and they eventually will get all their players back as well from injury and stuff. So I think, I had them the start of the season top 4 anyway, and are still kind of clinging on to that.
And Ellis, you've got Spurs in 5th.
They obviously had that amazing start and they were heavily under the limelight. Everybody saying big Ange at the wheel, this that and the other. Then they had a little bit of a slip. But I do feel like the football that he's got them playing, they've got a decent team. I've got them pegged as 5th because I think, like you said, they're better than your Chelsea's and your Manchester United's this year. Newcastle, I still just don't know how they're going to fare with injuries and stuff like that. Like Simon said, though, they can come back and then start picking up in the second half of the season. But just looking at it how it is now, I've got Spurs there.
Yeah, I had Spurs in 5th as well. I think, as you said, there was a lot of expectation on them at the start of the season, and I feel like they've been on a little bit of a roller coaster so far with Ange, and maybe now's the time they can actually just start to chill out
Just
and
calm
be
it
at the
down,
level
yeah.
that they're genuinely at, which for me is like in the top 6, but not challenging for the league. Because I remember at the start of this year, I predicted them to not even be in the top 8 because I thought they'd do without Kane. I thought they'd be horribly bad.
I did the same. I remember the episode.
Yeah, saying that they won't even get in the top 8. But now I think the squad's good enough. They play nice enough football. I can see them finishing 5th. And then, who have we got in the last European spot at 6th?
I've gone for Spurs.
So you've got Spurs there?
Well, to be fair, I put Manchester United.
Manchester United?
Weirdly enough. I just did. Just weird. I don't like them.
I mean, the thing is with United, even though when they are terrible, they still find a way to win, don't they? It's amazing me how they've got as many points as they have at the moment.
It's
isn't
crazy.
It?
You look at them games like against Brentford when you've got people like flipping Scott McTominay popping up out of the blue and scoring a brace and rescuing points for him. It's just a little bit wild, and I just see them. They're going to continue to do weird stuff like that. They're just very unorthodox, Manchester United, at the moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I had a stat on Manchester United that I wanted to read at some point during the episode, so now's a good time, which makes me think that they won't get in the top 6. So Manchester United have scored 22 goals in 19 Premier League games. Only Burnley, Sheffield United... that's it. Only Burnley and Sheffield United have scored less than them.
It's embarrassing.
In the 19 Premier League games this season. So for me, I just think Manchester United, unless they bring in a good attacker in January, I really don't see them getting into that top 6 in the Premier League. I just can't envision it because I don't think the football that Ten Hag plays is good enough to get that team to a better level without better players. And to be honest, even if they do make signings, if it's signings that are up to Ten Hag based on his previous signings, I don't see that having too much of an impact either.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when you look at it, I don't think they were much better or much worse last season, but the difference last season was on the back of the World Cup, Marcus Rashford came back and was scoring goals. They don't really have that right now. So that's, as you just clearly made with that fucking start. So it does make sense, but just, as I said, they're a little bit weird and hard to predict. They're unorthodox. They're just going to pick up points.
Well, I mean, Rashford was incredible last season and has been awful this year. I saw a stat saying Bruno Fernandes admittedly has scored, I think he scored a couple goals this season in the Premier League, but he has also given the ball away more than any other player in the Premier League this season. So as much as his stats on paper might look okay, it doesn't mean that he's particularly effective with the ball. And I think Ten Hag is really reliant on those two players in particular performing. Otherwise, there's no one else in the team to drag him out of a mess.
I just think if they start getting, I know he only just scored his first Premier League goal, but I do think that Højlund's a good striker.
Like he's going to be a good striker.
He's a good player, but whenever I've watched Manchester United recently, he's just not getting in any supply.
No service at all.
Like if he's in it, like say if he was in that Man City team playing up front in Haaland's role, he'd be scoring goals.
Yeah.
But Man United's, they're not creating, and that goes back to players like Fernandes, what they're really doing at this moment in time. But what if he starts getting the ball and scoring goals, they'll start picking up points, and I could see them getting into that top 6 spot. But
I think the problem with Manchester United for me, whenever I've thought about it, is the wingers, isn't it? Like, it's just I just look at Anthony and I think, what has gone wrong there? Every single time, he's fucking awful, isn't he? He's proper dog. But anyway, before I get too carried away on Manchester United, I've got my 6th, right? I actually have Brighton.
Swear to God.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I just feel like they've started to do a little bit better recently, and for some reason, I can just see them sneaking in over your Manchester United or a potential resurgence of another team.
I think it depends how far they go in Europe. If they get far, I think they'll put all their eggs in that basket. So I think they might drop off.
I mean, the Woods definitely. They're a fantastic footballing team, and Deserves. I don't even know his name properly, but he's got them playing football really well. I looked earlier on the Premier League app. Just when I was looking through stats for the season for today, and they've got the most passes in the league completed. Obviously, it's normally always City just flying at the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one, and it kind of shows you the kind of football that he's trying to instill into him. It's a good shout. Like I don't hate it.
That's what I mean. I just think Brighton aren't as dependent on a couple of players as the other teams that are fighting for those positions are. So I can see them still somehow sneaking it, even if they do have a couple of injuries because of the extra games or whatever.
Well, Milner's still going strong as well, isn't he? James Milner.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love James Milner.
Incredible professional.
I mean, obviously we love him because he's from Leeds and played for Leeds as well, but he's just been a mainstay name in the Premier League for so many years.
Good 20 years now, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's consistently done well. It's not like he's been crap at any point in his career.
Well, he's played in 3 separate decades now in the Premier League. And
Surely he must be up there for all-time appearances.
Yeah,
I think he is. I think he's
Gareth Barry's got the number one.
I think he's like closing in, or I'm sure he's definitely in the top 3. I think it's him and Gareth Barry and Giggs or something like that, maybe, or a goalkeeper or something. But yeah, he's definitely up there, and he's our greatest free transfer signing ever.
Oh, definitely.
Probably, I don't know, in the league, maybe. I don't know. I can't think of anyone else.
I mean, from Man City as well. So he won. He's won the league with 2 different teams.
He won a couple with City, and then he won it with us as well. Yeah.
Wow, what a man! What a man James Milner is.
Yeah.
But a question I wanted to ask on this top 6 debate is: do we think that Chelsea have any potential to sneak into it in the last half of the season? Because with the amount of money they've spent, and I mean, Pochettino is seen by many as a good manager. Do you think that they have a chance?
I think they're capable of going on a run. I just feel that the teams that we've already mentioned are just better equipped and more settled, and I just think they're a better outfits, quite frankly. I think Chelsea, like I say, they're capable of going on like a big unbeaten run, but I think probably top 6 is a big ask.
Yeah, Ellis, what do you think?
It's a big ask after how they've started the season. I think they're the 10th at the moment, aren't they? And I agree they're capable of going on a run. They've definitely got bags of talent, but they've got bags of talented individuals. Do you know what I mean? Have we really seen enough of them as a team?
No.
Inconsistency. I mean, we seen them at the start of the season against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, and I thought, well, they could be back here. They looked really good. Looked well equipped to go on and pick up points, but they're just too inconsistent, and I think they'll continue to be. It's just I don't know what the problem is with them at the moment, but it's just too much getting thrown into that squad.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Chelsea's a really weird one because when you look at the amount they've spent in just cash, you think, wow, they should be doing really well. But the team just isn't cohesive at all. It doesn't work together. And to be honest, having watched Chelsea in the Premier League this season and knowing how he did at PSG, my opinion on Pochettino has changed massively in the last couple of years, because that run that he had with Spurs, getting him to the Champions League final and doing quite well in the league, I think that was propelled by a very specific moment in that Spurs squad where there was a lot of good players performing practically at the peak. You had Son and Kane firing on all cylinders. The defence was pretty good. Then Lloris was one of the best keepers in the world at that point. And you've seen, obviously, Kane and
Dele
Son.
Alli then as well.
Yeah, Dele Alli was doing really well. You had Lucas Moura, who was doing quite well there. But now you see Lloris is leaving, Kane's left. I mean, Son's still incredible when he plays, but even last season, he wasn't very good throughout the year. This season, he's been great again. But I just think that maybe Pochettino isn't the manager that we thought he was.